Hello, hello, hello. Hope y'all are doing well. Happy eclipse season. It's been quite a roller coaster. The energies have been all over the place with the Libra lunar eclipse, and yeah, Pluto is still fresh into Aquarius, if you ask me, and making these aspects to angles that don't usually get much, or hasn't gotten much action, aka Pluto's squaring my midheaven. Pluto's like intense energies, power struggles, and it's a heavy energy to try to understand. It really digs into your emotions and really likes to like get you to face your shadows. You know, Pluto's that energy of making the unconscious conscious. And so with that squaring my midheaven, or the midheaven is where your energies are seen by the public, whether you're aware of it or not. So it's like the world stage. And so the way that's been playing out for me is like almost, I mean, a couple instances have been, you know, getting run over by one of those charter buses, the buses that, you know, cart people to their big corporations. I'm not going to name any names, but it's like a big charter bus, and it was one of the nice ones. It was purple, so it was like a hip charter bus. So yeah, I was just like, you know, crossing the street. I still had the walking sign, and the big old charter bus just, and it's through the city too. The intersections are small, and it was making this big wide turn. And instead of waiting for, you know, like I was in the front of the group of people that were crossing the street, and the bus just couldn't have waited for us to cross the street before it just kind of like pushed me out and like not allowed me to cross the street. Anyway, like power struggle, like anyway, it's fine. It's just like this phase of Pluto squaring the midheaven, which it will automatically square the IC, is going to be an intense time for me, like couple years. So if you have any angles, if it's Scorpio or Taurus, it's going to be Pluto's going to be squaring it. And then if your angles are at 0 Aquarius or Leo, then it'll be conjunct or opposite. So yeah, just a lot going on at the moment. And yeah, this Mercury Retrograde in Aries. Aries is a really impulsive, loud energy as well, and it can be, you know, kind of just all over the place, like all over the place in the kind of way that's just like when you open up TikTok, it's just like psh, like, you know, which is why I don't have TikTok on my phone. It's just maybe my nervous system is just too sensitive for like sudden loud energies like that. But I mean, we love our Aries. We need Aries. We need Aries to be bold and brave and daring and adventurous. So, you know, I have my South Node in Aries along with Venus, so I get it, you know. But Mercury in the sign of Aries is going to be pretty, you know, boisterous and bold, and not really going to give two shits, you know. It's going to be very shoot from the hip. And with this retrograde phase from the 1st of April to the 25th, it's going to be the opportunity for us to kind of like we might have needed to backtrack and like, you know, pick up the pieces where we might have said something out of maybe we were being rash and like a little too aggressive with our speech. And I mean, right now with the North Node also in Aries, which is our destiny point, where we are, you know, striving to go. We are learning how to be adventurous and brave and independent and self-reliant, and like breaking away from old relationships, or relationships that are like holding us back, and like it's like keeping us in this codependency where, you know, there's like a fear of being like, there's a fear of making a move because it might impact the other person in the relationship negatively. But you know, we are at a time with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra where we're being asked to let go of those fears and trust the universe that we will be able to make it on our own and be independent and pursue our goals, pursue the dreams that we have for ourselves. Like, even if nobody else believes in you, you know, if you have this vision, then you can trust the universe and know that the blessings and the synchronicities and the things will just like fall into place. And so it's not an easy path right now, which, you know, these are energies that we've never come across, we've never experienced before. So these are once in a lifetime energies, but it's super supportive for us to take those bold steps. And we're doing things differently. We're not doing things the way things have been done in the past. Like with Pluto no longer in Capricorn, like capitalism is, you know, we are phasing that out. Like, it's really, people are starting to wake up to the fact that, you know, capitalism has kind of like really actually turned toxic and to the detriment of the earth. And I mean, so many things like that it just trickles down from there. You know, like our soul and spirit and our integrity has been compromised. And so we're doing things differently now that Pluto is in Aquarius. We're going to have a lot of access to amazing technology that's going to free us from having to be these widget makers and having to, you know, believe that we have to earn this paycheck in order to, you know, have a good life. Like, it's going to be more apparent as you know, time moves on, that kind of system and that kind of like formula is actually the belief of a small group for the lower class to be controlled in order to serve the 1%, you know. But yeah, this Aries energy is very brave, bold. It's, you know, uncharted territories. Chiron is also in the mix. Chiron is the wounded healer, and it's that feeling of, you know, having those insecurities that stem back from an event during childhood, or it could have been college, you know, work. It depends on where Chiron is in your chart, what house it's in. And definitely hit me up if you're curious and want to know where Chiron and how, you know, where it is and how it plays out, or how it has been playing out in your chart. But with Chiron in Aries, it's the feeling of not being seen, not being able to really claim who you feel you are in your heart, and having to, I mean, especially like if it's aspected by Libra placements, which is the opposite of Aries, there's the pressure of having to live up to other people's standards, whether it's, you know, familial, societal, you know, self-imposed, you know, personal pressures. And Aries is known to be competitive, but and like being the first, and like, you know, just like kind of knocking people over with wanting to win. But at the heart of it, Aries just wants to be the best, you know, do their best. And it's the first sign of the zodiac, so it's taking those bold moves and being adventurous, like learning how to walk. You know, that's an Aries milestone, is learning how to walk and getting up, and, you know, you're no longer crawling, you are actually like standing on your own 2 feet. And so it's that feeling of, you know, accomplishment when you have learned how well you can do something, and then you just want to be the best at it. And so Chiron is also a centaur, and it's the realm between, it's the bridge that connects 2 realms, and the realms that Chiron connects are Saturn and Uranus. And I mentioned this a little bit before in a past video, how Chiron became the wounded healer for being that adventurous, daring, risk-taking energy to break out of Saturn's confines. You know, Saturn is the planet of boundaries and structure and limitations, and it's also the traditional ruler of Aquarius. And then Uranus is the modern Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, and Uranus is the energy of breaking the rules and thinking outside of the box, breaking you know, going past the boundaries, you know, like taking risks and seeing what else is out there. It goes beyond what we know and is connected to outer space. And so, I mean, Saturn is the planet that you can see with the naked eye, and Uranus is, you know, past Saturn, so you have to use a telescope to view it. But, you know, if you kind of think of it that way, like, it's beyond our sight, you know. It's like Uranus wants to explore what's beyond what we can see. And so Chiron is that energy that has, and Chiron in Aries especially, Chiron was discovered in the sign of Aries, and so it had that energy of adventure and being daring, and, you know, seeing what else is out there. And I mean, there's also some other background about the other planets that were involved when Chiron was discovered. It's really interesting. But, you know, when I find a video that talks about that, I can link it below. But I mean, it's just, everything just like fits perfectly well with Chiron's story. And so the reason why I mention it is because Mercury will conjunct Chiron. Mercury already met up with Chiron a few days ago on the 18th of March, and that's when Mercury was doing it. But it was conjunct Chiron at, is that 15 degrees? Let me see here. 18 degrees. And that was when the moon was in Leo, which is another fire sign. So there was a flow of fiery energy on the 18th. And the ruler, we always look at the ruler of the sign, which in this case, the ruler of Aries is Mars. And Mars was in Aquarius when it met up with, when Mercury and Chiron met up the first time. And then it's like a, like using your words, you know, this is like an energy of using your brave new words, you know, new words that you're experimenting with, in order to, you know, like take your power back. And when Mercury retrogrades back, it will meet up with Chiron again on the 21st of March. And actually on the 17th of April, Venus and the North Node will be conjunct. So we could, during this time, whenever Venus represents like supportive friends, you know, supportive allies, could be women, blessings, you know, it also sweetens relationships. And in the sign of Aries, this can be like an ego boost, is how I see it. And especially with the North Node, this is something that's going to definitely, you know, pull us forward. And it might be uncomfortable for some of us. Like the North Node is an uncomfortable direction that we're going in, because we haven't gone in that direction like this before. So it is a supportive energy with Venus in the mix now. And also Eris, E-R-I-S, which is the goddess of discord, is also very much in the mix. When we have the solar eclipse on the 8th, Mercury will actually be conjunct Eris at 24 degrees. And so we could probably feel like there's a lot of, you know, calling out to do. You know, Venus, I mean, Eris is, I mean, the story of Eris is, you know, she essentially, Eris threw this apple into the wedding that she wasn't invited to, and then the three women, Hera, Athena, Aphrodite, fought over who the fairest of them all would be. And they wanted one of the soldiers, or, you know, Paris of Troy, to decide, and it just spun into this big war. And there was bribery, and, you know, like, if you pick me, then you'll have the most beautiful of them all. Anyway, so Mercury will be conjunct Eris on the North Node solar eclipse on the 8th of April. So that's going to be a whole nother topic. So yeah, this Mercury retrograde is going to be very intense. And then let's see, when Venus and Mercury meet up, they'll be Mercury and Venus will be conjunct on the 19th. So Mercury will retrograde back it'll retrograde all the way back to 15 degrees and 58 minutes, so not quite meeting up with the North Node exactly, still at 15 degrees, but on the 19th, Mercury will meet up with Venus at 17 degrees, and so that's going to be, I'm sure, well welcomed. That's going to be an energy that'll be welcomed, and that's also when Jupiter and Uranus meet up in Taurus at 21 degrees, and that's also going to be in a sextile, cooperative aspect to Mars in Pisces, which will be sandwiched between Saturn and Neptune. So with Mars and Pisces, this is definitely energy of like kind of spiritual, possibly emotional warfare, and like pursuing those, you know, and defending those spiritual beliefs. And there could be, I mean, this is kind of like a, you know, with Mars between Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, I see this as kind of like the energy of like laying down your arms, you know, coming to the realization that, you know, peace and harmony is what's necessary at this moment. And the moon will be in Virgo at this time as well, when Jupiter and Uranus are in conjunction. And Jupiter is, you know, higher wisdoms and beliefs, and it also expands, it brings blessings. And Uranus is the energy of sudden events, like surprises and like unexpected events. And in the sign of Taurus, that's our stability. It's the earth. It is our finances, and food is connected to food as well. And this will be in a trine to the moon in Virgo, so they'll both be in earth signs. And so this is pretty supportive, in my opinion. I mean, we have to like really trust all of the energies that are playing out. Like if we could just all see how the energies are playing out in the sky, we would be able to like all like trust that, you know, even the wars that are happening all over the world, you know, as horrific as they are, it's or horrific as they appear to be, you know, through what we are being shown through the screens, like we have to trust that eventual peace and harmony will be reached. You know, it's more of that and less of feeding into the divisiveness and the fears that, you know, that machine has been like trying to siphon and like pumping out all this horrific imagery in order to elicit certain emotions. And, you know, it's like all propaganda in order to like keep us in this wheel of fear and dependency, you know. And that's one of the things with the Libra lunar eclipse was coming to the realization that those codependent relationships, whether it's with a spouse or a job, a corporation, the government, any kind of system, any kind of habits, need to be released. And so there's a lot to be hopeful for. Like there's a lot of good reason to have hope about what's coming around the corner. But yeah, so when Venus meets up with Mercury on the 19th, the next day Jupiter and Uranus will be conjunct, and that's going to change a lot of things. And it's going to, these are energies that kind of like, they build up and then they, you know, then they dissipate. Jupiter and Uranus is, like none of these energies just happen in one day and then it's over. Like it's a build up, and then, you know, it's kind of like when the sun sets, you know, you see the shadows of the trees that kind of, they elongate and then they disappear, you know. And so this is that kind of effect as well with these planetary energies. And so when Jupiter and Uranus conjunct, it's going to be like this build up or crescendo or peak of what's happening, and then, you know, it'll kind of start to ripple, and we'll be affected by it like at different times, and will come to realize, you know, like that's just the energy, that's just the nature of these energies. It builds and it continues and it overlaps. And so with these current energies, I mean, these are actually revolutionary times. Like, this is the Great Revolution. But yeah, it's very exciting, and if we can keep our centeredness and not get pulled into the propaganda. Like, the propaganda actually is like a way of putting spells on us. You know, it's wordplay, it's deceptive wordplay, and there's like all these like little loopholes that keep them being able to like pull these shenanigans that they've been pulling for the longest time. So yeah, I appreciate those of you who follow along, and you know, I know my I don't know, the explanations are not exactly linear, but yeah, they're a bit scattered. I mean, my Mercury is in Pisces, conjunct my Sun, so Pisces is not exactly the most, you know, linear, organized type of energy, but it is in a cooperative aspect to my Jupiter in Taurus, so I do have some things to share about. Oh yeah, just for this Mercury retrograde, it's just a good idea to give yourself some grace and give others their grace. Aries is a very strong, impulsive, bold energy, and we're all learning how to use our words in a brave new way. And with the retrograde, we'll be given the opportunities to rehearse our brave new words. And I mean, I even had to do this a few days ago on the day of the lunar eclipse, and like having to dial back some of the responsibilities that I was asked to do for an organization that I love. And I, you know, my nature is to, you know, want to contribute, and but I have to realize for myself, for my own well-being, my physical well-being, and in order to pursue my own goals, that I had to communicate my needs in a new way, and it, you know, it went smoothly. But yeah, it's an exciting time to be able to take our power back, and to be given the abilities and the skills and insight and intuition. Like, we're learning a lot now about how things actually operate, and we are able to let go of and unlearn the old ways and step into our own. So this Mercury retrograde, as nerve-wracking as it may seem, as it could be, especially, you know, again, Mercury rules all things that take you from point A to B, communication-wise, like physically, transportation-wise. So just double check your details, make sure your, you know, tires are in good shape, make sure you have gas in the tank, you know, whatever it might be. If you have like the slightest inkling of something that you have to review, or something not going right, the chances are that you're probably right, and it is worth it to take a few moments to like double check and, you know, just make sure everything is in place before continuing. So I think that's all I can say about this for now, and I hope it was helpful, and I hope it made sense. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate y'all who, you know, follow, like, subscribe, and all that stuff, comment, and yeah, it's even this endeavor is like an adventure. You know, it's not like I have the most professional equipment, but yeah, I'm doing my little scrappy operation here, which is also Aries as well, like just doing it. So thanks for everyone's support, and I hope it's helpful. Let me know if there's anything I can do to, you know, help you navigate these energies. It is a lot. There's a lot going on, and I'd be honored to, like, you know, explore your chart with you. There's a lot of validation that can be had, and a lot of stress to be released, like a lot of, you know, stress just kind of falls off and falls away when you realize like things are at play for a reason, and knowing that these energies also pass, like this too shall pass. But yeah, everything does happen for a reason. So anyway, yeah, all the best blessings and happy Mercury retrograde, and see you on the next one. Okay.